We had a question that was asked earlier, so would you please re-ask it?
Yeah. My question was, being a pastor as your previous professions and going into your current profession, did you face any struggles and what were they?
Well, the struggles were obvious. They should be if you're in around American religious world. It doesn't matter whether it's Roman Catholic or Protestant or Jewish. It doesn't matter. There is a societal or a religious view that the body shouldn't be seen naked. Well, I, through about 6 years of my own study, came to a conclusion that was different. I worried, how come the doctors could see my naked wife? How come doctors could see naked people? What about nudity in art? What about siblings bathing together? What about parents and child? What about all these things? And then I had to try to convince my wife. And that took about 2 years.
I said, no, no, never, never,
Not me, ever. And then finally she said, all right, Bub, put up or shut up. And then I got frightened. So I said, do you want to go to a clothing optional beach? Do you want to go to a big resort or go to a little resort? She said, I don't want to go anywhere. But because I want to be with you, and I know you have this quest to learn, you pick it. So now it was really on my shoulders. So we went. And needless to say, it was March of 2000. It altered our world. I was pastoring a growing community church in Anaheim. And as it turns out, I can't keep my mouth shut about something good. And probably the next year, I took some of my thoughts and wrote a paper on your bibliography. The website, if you want to read it, is experiencegrace.com. It's my philosophical website. And I wrote the paper entitled Good Unity, the third one down. So I wrote it and I gave it to my leaders of my church. And I said, guys, I want you to think about this with me. So the next leadership meeting we had, I said, so at the end of the meeting, no one brought it up. So I brought it up. I said, what do you think of my paper? And they said, well, sounds pretty good, never thought about it. And I didn't say that we were going anywhere, I just laid a foundation for discussion and asked some questions. And as it turns out, they said, cool. So at that night I said, well guys, I just want you to know that the last year and a half, Judy and I have been going to clothing optional places. And it was the first time in my life as a minister, a pastor, where telling people I was a pastor was not negative. It's hard to experience or to explain, but in a clothing optional context, hi, what do you do? Well, I'm a pastor. Well, what are you doing here? Because that's not where you're supposed to be. And I go, what are you doing here? Same thing. Well, there it is. So anyway, the next meeting, one of my leaders said, Jeff, how about it? I don't think I could do it. How can you go and see other women and not lust? And I said, well, why don't you and your wife come with Judy and I and experience it? He goes, I already asked my wife, but she doesn't want to go. So anyway, that was the start, and there was some series of circumstances that took place then after that, where some of the old folks and older leaders said, wait a minute. And it got pretty messy. But at that point in our life, we had already created a whole other world that we were involved in. And it was not too long that we left that situation. We were asked to leave that situation. And then I realized that the world is not ready yet for a spiritual leader of any denomination or any faith to say they don't have a problem with the naked body. So I was on the bleeding edge, and we then had to launch out on our own. So, did that answer your question?
Yeah.
So some of my writings reflect that, and you can read all about it on the website if you're interested, and I do answer emails, so if you have any questions.